Okay, here we go. Let's get some Dark Cloud 2ing done. I hope everyone is doing good today. I am tired, but we're here anyway. Just like, what am I forgetting to do here? I'm forgetting something, and it's make it so that way it's full screened on my monitor. Okay. Off we go. I am doing just fine. At least that's what I'm gonna tell myself. If I sound a little tired, it's because I am. But I just spent the last 2 hours laying in bed, trying to sleep. And I think it's pretty clear from the fact that I'm awake how that went. So you know, not great. Not great. Check memo. Are there any... That's Donnie. Okay. We have not forgotten any quests. Cool. In that case... all I need to do then is make sure that I have all of the ideas for chapter 2, and then we're good to move on. I need to make sure I have all of the ideas. A better question might be, am I going to anyway? You know, like, do I need to? No. But I am going to. So, let's look at the list for chapter 2. It's not a long list anyway, so it's not like it'll take particularly long. Okay, so we will check. Now that I've gotten those, I can... so we should have 16 scoops, so let's figure out which one we're missing. How did I miss getting one? The amount of times I've played chapter 2 just recently, I shouldn't have missed any. But I did, evidently. Okay, so I've got Dangerous Pumpkin, got Find the Golden Egg, got Floating Earth Digger, got Gumo's Yell, got Humjarak, got King Martin, got Lafrecia Stem, got Master Uton, got Butterfly United, got Spooky Grassmouth, got Tor's Nap. Oh, I know which one I'm missing. It's a chapter 1 one because I'm not, and it's not gonna, I missed it again. It's gonna be, not daytime, or it's gonna be daytime by the time I get there. That sucks. If I'd realized I was missing that, I could have done it. I'm tempted to actually load the save and just run over and take it, but I'm not sure it would count. Anyway, but yeah, apparently I don't have, Ruler of the Pond. Oops. I honestly thought I had it. Like, it didn't even occur to me that I completely forgot that I hadn't gotten it. Anyway, on ideas, we have coal, we have firehouse. I knew I had those too. Pretty sure I got fruit. Yep, got fruit. Grass. I should check the total number of ideas. 82. So I may have not gotten all of the ones you can get in chapter 1. I may have forgotten to do that too. Oops. Hammock, or not chapter 1, but all the ones that you can get right at the end of chapter 1, beginning of chapter 2. Let me check, continue through this list. I do not have the signs, so we will go and get those. I probably just don't have a lot of the things that are in the future, but I'm just gonna grab all the signage and quartz, because quartz is easy to forget. Okay, quartz, sign. How'd that not count? Strong disagree. Strong disagree, game. That one should have counted. Whatever. Okay. Hello, Taylor. There we go. That should cover most of the chapter 2 ones I didn't already make sure that I had. Okay. So Jirax arms sign, Jirax sign, Jirax nose, log. I don't have a picture of the mushrooms, so let me go get that. There we go. Then I have the mushroom burger sign. Then I know I have pot torch. I've just got quartz. I know I have water wheel. And I have wooden bookshelf, withered Jirac, and Woody Taylor sign because I just got it. So that's all of these. Now I need to actually go and finish Palm Springs because I evidently never did for ideas. Oops. I forgot to do a little something. My bad. Okay, so let's go try to figure out what I need before I start going for it. So I am missing something like 40 things. I'm pretty sure I know where they all are though, actually, so I think I'll just go start getting them. They're all in the across the bridge part of Palm Springs. That's where they all are. In City Hall. I'll go get the City Hall ones first. Like, but that's definitely where they all are. I am very certain that's where pretty much all of them are. I just forgot to actually go down the checklist once that half of Palm Springs was open. Oops. You know, sometimes you forget to do little things. I still can't believe this isn't one. It feels like it should be, right? Like the other monuments are. Like the other centerpieces like that. They all are, but that one? That one's not, for some reason. Always kind of weird. Denied. A bot tried to promote in my chat, and I'm almost certain it was a bot, so they are now no longer in my chat. This not being an idea is just the most perplexing thing ever. I feel like the ideas are definitely the place where you can feel that, like, they had more ideas for the game than they actually ended up making into things. I was like, I'm pretty sure Deerhorn's an idea. I'm not going crazy. You're going crazy. Also, this not being an idea. Weird. Honestly, strange. There's a lot of things like that in the game, though. That they're just around. And they should be ideas. But they're not. And most of those things are in Palm Springs because Palm Springs is just like... it's the section of the game that feels the most unfinished, I think, because it's the biggest. So it's the easiest one to feel it in. You know, because it's so core to how this game is set up, it's really easy to look around Palm Springs and go, man, it feels like they probably had more ideas they didn't get to over there. You know? And you're like, yeah, that definitely looks like what happened. Yeah. I just can't believe I just entirely forgot to get ideas on this half of Palm Springs. Like, wholesale, entirely. Completely forgot. Also, I am going to actually talk to Ferdinand while I'm here to remind myself that I still need to make sure I get a chestnut at some point. Because I had already forgotten I needed to do that. Isn't there another idea in here? There is, right? Just figure, but you can get that elsewhere. Is there not? I guess there isn't. Okay, I guess I'm just going crazy. It's the church in chapter 3 that has a surprising number of ideas in it. That's what it is. The church in chapter 3 is just full of ideas. For no apparent reason either. It just is. Like, do you think those would have been in this one? But they're just not. Okay, look at the sign. Can't forget to get a chimney while I'm here. Get paints. Painting. I think that's all that's unique. Oh wait, no, cloth. Cloth, I need cloth. And if I don't already have it, I'll get ladder. Where's cloth? Get figure, but again, there's cloth. It's like I know cloth is in this room. I remember having to come back for it. So our number of ideas we're looking for is 166 apparently. No, 137. I was looking at the wrong chapter. Helps to look at the right list. So yeah, 137. So we've got another 30 off. We have Max's entire house to do. That's gonna be a lot of them. Then monument, pier, boat. Don't know what else. At that point, we'll actually have to, please, give me chimney. There we go. I don't remember if there's anything in this house you can't get elsewhere, but we're gonna check. You know, we'll find out if there's anything here we need. 'Cause I sure don't remember. You would think, considering how many times I have played this game in the recent past, that I would remember what's available and where. You sure would think that. But on the other hand, I'm sleep deprived, and that's probably lessening the level of my memory. You know, like, that's definitely a contributing factor to my memory being not as good. Also, I think it's hilarious what does and doesn't count for dressers and drawers. Max is such a stickler for things. I still think it's so funny that this is called Claire's dad's room and not Need's room. That's so funny to me. That, like, the game doesn't necessarily come out and tell you that Need is Claire's dad until you talk to one of them. Like, why is it called Claire's house? I mean, you know what? Actually, no, never mind. I'm wrong. That makes sense because Claire and Max are close in age. I absolutely called how, like, you absolutely call a house by the name of the person closest to your age who lives there. That's true, actually. Never mind. I'm the one in the wrong. And I think I would have also referred to, like, I think I probably also referred to rooms that way too. Like, yeah, no, that's fair actually. To Max, Need is just some old guy. Like, that tracks. Never mind. I take it back. I'm the weird one here for thinking it should be any other way. Okay, I think that's all that's actually unique to this room. No idea what else I need. What else I need? Anyway, curtain, get telescope. Globe not being an idea feels wrong. Also, I think it's really funny that Max's robot is just robot and Cedric's is old style robot. That's always been funny to me. Do I have all the time of days for the sun? Morning sun. Do I have morning sun? I don't. Do I have evening sun? I do not. Have I taken a single picture of the sun? Maybe not. Let's go see if we can grab evening sun still, or if it's too late in the day. Might be too late in the day. I don't remember which side the sun's on from here, but it distinctly looks like it's below the horizon regardless. Regardless of where it should be, it's of which side it should be on, it's definitely below the horizon. Don't know if I had fence or not yet, but I've got it now. Anyway, let's go get a picture of a hoe. Because like, that's the only thing you need from here. I already got refrigerator. That's on the second floor. Also, I'm just gonna verify I got pumpkin at some point. Like, pretty sure I did, but like, we'll just make sure. Okay, there we go. Got a picture of a hoe. Wahoo. Anyway. Please let me through the door. Please let me through the door. Let me out. Let me out, game. I'm sorry. I'll be better. Anyway, I know I have the moon because I had to show it to Rufio. Can't believe I forgot to take pictures of the sun. That's a little bit of an oopsie. An oopsie doopsie on my part. So once I go over here and I get the picture of the monument and the stuff in Dell's clinic and around the pond, I guess at that point is when I start looking through the Palm Springs items and go, but what am I missing? Because the answer is evidently a fair amount still. Because like there's a fair amount of ideas in Dr. Dell's room, but not 30. And the sun only makes up 3. You know, like, okay, there's boat and pier. Lake isn't its own idea, right? Yeah, I didn't think so. I will, however, wait here for a minute to get the ruler of the pond, since I do not yet have a ruler of the pond. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Is it time yet? No, okay. For some reason I was thinking time passed faster in this game than it does. Because when I'm actually running around doing things, it feels blazing fast, you know? Feels like it's really... So just in case I somehow didn't save the idea when I for sure took it, you know, like, just in case I somehow managed. Okay, no, I did in fact get it and save it before. The rule of the last scoop we can get now. So, you know, that's good. Okay, well, it's 12. That picture must have been taken. The picture where it didn't appear must have been taken at 11:59. Hello? That is a lamp. Okay, game. And I thought lamps were an idea, but I guess not. Not that lamp anyway. Okay, get the Dow Clinic sign. Then we'll go inside and... Okay, let's do our best not to miss anything. There's eye, bone, egg. Don't think there's anything else up there. Then over here, there's saw. Pliers are not one for some reason. Okay, it looks like I got everything. Echo, those just count as normal paintings. I don't think... I guess they do. They are paintings. It's just, they don't feel like they should be classified like that. I forgot something in Max's house. Hold up. I forgot the stained glass window. Once I get the stained glass window, I'll start looking through to find what else I have missed. Do a little bit of bad diagonal running, because I do not remember what the actual angle I'm going for is on it. Because you're trying to result in a movement angle of exactly 45 degrees, but I do not remember how you want the camera to be facing to more easily achieve that. You know? It's like I need to actually look up a visual of someone doing it to remind me of what it's supposed to look like, cuz like I understand it conceptually, but I am not good enough at turning Max's movement in my head. I mean, I slept. But yeah. Still gotta prep for the perfect save file. Okay, let's see what ideas we're missing. We're missing a bunch of ideas from Palm Springs. We have Autobook Reader, we have Bar Sun, we have Barrel, we have Bed, we have Belt, we have Bench, we have Binoculars, we have Blackstone 1, we have Boat, we have Bone, we have Bottle, we have Book, we have Bread. We don't have Bridge. How did I manage to not get the bridge? Could have sworn I got a bridge at some point. But whatever. That's easy enough, I guess. But yeah, we're just finishing up chapter 2 by actually catching up our inventions. I know I need all 3 versions of the sun, or at least 2. I don't actually know if I have the sun, but I definitely don't have evening or morning. Okay, so bridge, cafe sign. We missed can? How did I miss can? Yeah? What about it? Do tell. Where even is Canis? Okay, I know some places it's available. So I know you can get it at the train station. I don't know if it's available anywhere else. I don't really want to be at the train station right now because I can't get morning sun there very easily. I mean, I definitely agree. Like, it was on purpose. Like, there's a reason the ride pod is as busted as it is. And Max's inventions serve to make it more busted. I just don't like it. You know? It's like, I get... Like, I understand what they were going for, I just don't like it. Yeah. And the hard part is that, like, inventing weapons is generally strictly worse because of the way base stats in the game work. Like, the fact that invented weapons are just worse. Please, son, come out. Come out wherever you are. Come out from behind the tree. I want to take a picture. Go further over here. Please, son. Son, please. I'm begging you. Come out from behind the tree. I found another tree to put between me and it. Anyway, there's morning sun. Yeah. And well, the inventions aren't even the invented weapons aren't even useful for synth fodder because for almost every synthesis aside from the ones that you're doing for abilities, like for raw stats, the wrench is still your best choice. Like it is still the best choice to simply do Max's wrench, which is sad. Okay, there's the sun. Now I will go take pictures of other things while I wait for it to be late enough in the day for evening sun. Like, there definitely were like better ways to tie inventions into everything else, but I kind of don't mind that inventions are really optional and just serve to empower the ride pod. I just think that the biggest thing this game is missing over Dark Cloud 1 is and this is something I've noticed in a lot of more recent games too, is a feeling of progression in terms of player strength, and I feel like that's pretty core to how JRPGs function. Almost certain I don't have the police sign, because I definitely forgot to get it in a different playthrough. Pretty sure I have Fountain, but I'm getting it again anyway. Like, there's a lot of ways that they could have made it better. Anyway, does that not count as can? Hello. I could have sworn that one counted as can. What does count as can then? Let me look in here to see where I'm supposed to get can, if not that. Found it, Polly's Bakery on a shelf. Okay, I mean, fair enough, I guess. I just really thought that the obvious can in that I remembered seeing would be good enough, but my mistake. I should have known it wouldn't be. The weirdest things don't count in this game. Like, it definitely was, definitely those cans were supposed to count, and they got missed, you know? Like they're an object that was definitely supposed to count. Almost certainly. Okay, where are the cans that do count? It's not... Those look like milk cans, not just cans, but whatever. Save all the ideas. We need 12 more now, I think. Anyway, so candle, car, cart. Don't know how I missed this one. Anyway, now that I'd somehow missed one of the shop signs in Palm Springs, Cedric shop sign, chair, chandelier, chimney, clock, cloth, coal, constructor, cup, curtain, deer horn, Dell Clinic sign, drawbridge, drawer, dresser, egg, Elena's portrait, eyeball. I'm missing evening sun there, but I have to wait until evening to get it. Fan, fence, figure, fireplace, flag. Oh, I forgot to go to the cook side of Max's house. Oops. I was like, what am I missing here? I don't know, maybe the food? Whoopsie doopsie. But yeah, I think the ride pod gets the best sense of progression in this game. Because, you know, I think that's what's missing. So there's not a big power boost in this game for evolving to a new weapon. And that's why the ride pod sense of progression feels so much better. Because when you switch weapons on the ride pod, it feels impactful. Like, you feel it. Because it's a huge difference in stats from one tier of weapons to the next. Whereas, also, I should get palm tree while I'm here because I'm sure I don't have it. Whereas for everything else on Max, it's not super impactful. Let's just fish again. Meat not being one will always confuse me. There's vegetables slash fruits. We'll talk to Fernand to get his quest started, but I don't have a chestnut. So, you know, bad luck was bad as I cleared the forest. It's 2 p.m. True. I feel like Dark Cloud 1 did have that sense of progression. It still didn't have the big sense of progression, but because you had to manually level up every weapon and they made a big deal about leveling it up, it had more of a sense of progression on the weapons than this does. The ride pod still beats it out because it's really hard to beat out. I doubled my attack, you know, like that's hard. It's hard to beat that sense of progression, you know what I mean? But particularly in Dark Cloud, finding weapons felt like it mattered. Especially early in the game or right after you get a new character. You're super excited to find a weapon for them so that way they have a choice that's not their default. Whereas in this, there's not really that particular sense. You know, it doesn't really exist. Because your default weapons work fundamentally differently. So finding weapons in chests is pretty forgettable in this. It's not evening sun yet. Bummer. Give it a minute. Evening sun? Yeah, evening sun. There we go. Okay. So fish is what I was grabbing there. We have 6 more somewhere to get. So here's fish, flag, flower, flower chair, fountain, freight train. Don't have gate. So I even took a picture of the fence outside Max's house and I forgot to take a picture of the gate. How did I manage that? How did I take a picture of the fence and not get the gate? But yeah, just there's a lot of little things in Dark Cloud 2's weapon progression that makes it feel a little worse than Dark Cloud 1. In terms of how the weapon progression feels. I will say one thing that is way better in Dark Cloud 2 is if you know what you're doing, it's not grindy. The same cannot be said about Dark Cloud 1. So Dark Cloud 2 does a better job of rewarding you for knowing the game and for understanding the system and the way that it works. Dark Cloud 1 is obnoxious in that there's no way around doing obnoxious grinding if you want to do the optional dungeon. There's just not. Whereas in this, like, as long as you get to the last form of a weapon, that's typically good enough. Like, it's better to increase its stats closer to maximum, but you can make it through and it's not like a slog to clear chapter 8. Clearing Dark Cloud 1 without a close to max weapon or a maxed weapon is a slog on that last dungeon, which is absolutely contributed to by the fact the last dungeon has 100 floors. The bonus dungeon having 100 floors really contributed to that particular feeling. Anyway, gate. After gate is glasses case, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, glasses case, gold store, hoe, iron bridge, iron maiden, ladder, lamp. I missed Adele's letter. Whoops. One day I'll remember everything that I need to take pictures of in Max's house. I'd just like to remind everyone that I have played and beaten this game at least 5 times. If you count how many times I've done chapter 1 and 2, you're looking at more like 20 at least, at minimum. Floor values 20. One day I'll remember everything in Max's house that I need to take a picture of, but I'm not holding my breath. Okay, get letter. Also, because I'm pretty sure I didn't take a picture of it yet. Get phone. Okay, letter, light, mailbox, manhole, milk can, monument, morning sun. You didn't get Morton Sundry sign? I'm down to just 3 ideas, and one of them is another shop sign. I'm gonna take a picture of Polly's Bakery sign just in case, you know? Just in case there's a theme here. And what I forgot to take pictures of. Oh, man. Yeah, I will say that, like, yeah, that's fair. I definitely did that with several of the things I've had to run back and get at this point. But you know, that's just how it be sometimes. Sometimes you do silly things like not taking a picture of one of the shop signs. We're just gonna, hello, there we go. Like, just gonna grab that. Oh, that's right. It's that sign. And then grab that. Okay, now let's see. Oh, we only got one, so at least I did remember to take those other ones. There's that at least. Okay, so Morton Sundry sign, then old style robot, oven, painting, paints, palm tree, parasol, Parn Studio sign, phone, phonograph, piano, pier, pipe, police sign, Polly's Bakery sign, post, pot, pumpkin, wrapper. I never took a picture of the railroad. So railroad's one. I'm gonna figure out what the other one is before I go locate them. Refrigerator, register, rifle, river, robot, rock, rug, saw, shield, show window, shrubbery, sign, stained glass, staircase, stand, stove, street light. Which should be easy. Just one of these, right? No? Which things count as streetlights? Which of these count as streetlights? It just says lamps lighting streets at night, which is not helpful. Is it these? There we go. You'd think these would also count, since honestly, if I think streetlights, I more think these, like the overhead kind. But you know, whatever. Anyway, so now let's go get a picture of the railroad. The easiest place to do that's going to be Sindane Station. That's gonna be the easiest spot to get that picture. For sure. So we'll just go get it there. You know, no reason to walk all the way to the train station when we can just walk to the end of the train. I was gonna say, this railroad had better count. The game scared me there for a second. I was like, what do you mean it doesn't? Yeah, I already got that. Okay, that's everything for chapter 2. On to chapter 3.
All right, let's move them out.
The only thing I still need to do, which I think I actually have to do in chapter 2, come to think of it, Dark Cloud to Chestnut. Is there somewhere else to get it? Okay, you can buy them from the Jirac Mall. Apparently. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. So once we do this at Balance Valley, we will go and buy a roasted chestnut, since we did not get lucky enough to find any. We'll do it once we get bumped out to go get whoa. The fire doesn't like it when you look at it. Also, these torches feel like they should be an idea. Also, that doesn't count as a clock. Interesting. There's a lot of details in this game that are really easy to just walk by and never think about. Who is this wanted poster for? Since when is I honestly have no idea. The stations only exist in my mind. True. Actually. So true. Stations are a construct of the mind. They don't actually exist. Anyway, there's Lynn's house. Let's step inside. We don't need to listen to the owl talk. We can skip it, actually. And our life will be better for it. I really think that the owl's mustache should be an idea. You know? It would have been funny. They should have done it. Okay. No actual ideas in here. Couldn't remember. It would have been hilarious if it was an actual idea. Should have been an actual idea, but alas, it was not. Automod chill. Automod be out here trying to censor things it doesn't need to. But then again, I have never actually taken the time to search through what Automod does and does not block. So, you know, it's kind of on me for being lazy about that. Why'd I come to Palm Springs? I want to go to Sindane first. Silly me. I forgot a step of what I wanted to do. I need to go to Jirac Mall and buy a chestnut. Also, I should actually do the inventions, huh? I mean, that's definitely true, but there's also a lot of things in Palm Springs that feel like they should be ideas and just aren't. How'd I miss that? Whatever. Like, there's just a chest right there, and I somehow missed it. I'm going to say that I forgot to recheck after making the last couple of things appear. Why is that 300 Gilda? Whatever. Get rid of this trumpet gun and this bell trigger. And then I can afford roasted chestnut. Inflation's wild, yo. Oh, right. I mean, I'm feeling like I'm doing pretty good for not using a map to know where all the chests are. I am going to have to actually look at actually no. I'm going through the Star Wall in chapter 3. Screw having to wait until chapter 6 to get those chests. I'll just go through the Star Wall. It'll be fine. That one's a little easier to do anyway than the chapter 2 one. And the chapter 2 one is also easier at that point in the game because the Spheda way of doing it is way less reliant on luck. Like, it can still take a couple clears of the floor to get through the Star Wall, because you need to be able to get the Spheda to the right place. And on Sindane, you need the exit to be facing the right direction in order to phase through the wall. But like, it's quite doable compared to trying again and again, just hoping and praying for an angel or devil coin to be close enough to the wall that you can use it to phase through. Wahoo! Onward we go. My ear has decided to be itchy, which is especially annoying because I have headphones that have some actual, like, I have earbuds that have heft to them, and so if you want them to stay in, you have to actually wrap, like, they're designed for you to wrap the cord around your ear, which means that taking them out and putting them back on is a hassle. A singular roasted chestnut. Usually I have like 3 at this point, even if I'm not grinding or anything. Why didn't you just ask in the first place? Shut up, Ferdinand. I didn't want to ask, that's why. Okay. Exactly. Ferdinand is one of those people who's like, oh, of course I'll help, but only after you've helped them. You know? He's one of those people who just ignores the fact that you've requested his help until you actually help him. And then he's like, oh yeah, you had a request? Oh, you should have just asked. Shut up, Ferdinand. Nobody likes you. That's not true. I do actually like Ferdinand. He's not the best of the recruitable side characters in this game, but he's not the worst. He's just kind of there. You know, it's certainly possible to be worse than Ferdinand, that's for sure. That's fair.
Well, if it isn't Max.
Dr. Dell's voice will never not be funny to me, and I can't explain why. Like, it just is funny, you know? Although I also think it's really funny that, like, Dr. Dell comes and helps you with one patient, and then just gets trapped in purgatory on the train. What happened to all the people who needed his services in Palm Springs? We took their only doctor.
Chapter 3: The Sage of the Stars.
Chapter transitions are not skippable. Fun fact. It's always interesting what devs choose to make not skippable. He's like, when are you gonna let me off this train? We just casually invent some handcuffs. You're not getting off the train.
This is where Starlight Canyon starts. Let's...
We're just here like, it's funny you think you get to leave. Tag and defeat all enemies using only the ride pod. 1 second. I'm going to not torture myself with that. We're going to invent some things, because I need a better melee weapon. I hate that I can't reorder inventions, though. It sucks. Okay, so we're going to just invent things as close to as in order of what we can invent as we can. Okay. So fountain. We'll get the aquarium out of the way. Then window. Then wooden box. That is one invention out of 30.
Sage?
Gonna be here for a second. That's okay. We have more inventions to do. Show window, then gold store. Then clock. One thing I wish it let you do, since it lets you switch over, since it lets you switch over things like, whatever it's called. Since it lets you use the photo album to switch over photos, I wish it also just let you switch over all of your inventions. Why are you making me redo this menuing? There's no reason for that. You don't gotta be like that, you know? Like, let me switch over the inventions themselves, too. Especially since, yeah, it's fine. Especially since invention, or, ideas that you switch over that way don't count for photography points. You know? So, like, let me switch the inventions themselves directly, because that makes more sense, because I can do that anyway, right? because I can switch back things from further in the game anyway, I can already get every invention chapter 1 if I want to really abuse the photo album. You know? So it's like, why don't you just let me transfer them directly? It feels like one of those things where they're like, yes, but now you have to menu, and it's like, but why? I don't want to do extra menuing. I will say, if it was an option to just transfer all of my inventions over, I would only ever do inventing once. Because I would go through the entire game without inventing anything. And then invent things by categories. That way it's organized in a way that makes sense. Because there's no good way to organize your inventions without not inventing anything for an obnoxiously long time. You know? Because the only way it makes sense to order your inventions, because you're forced to invent the energy pack, the only way it makes sense to order your inventions after that is to order them by what you can lost my train of thought, is to order them by type, since you can't alphabetize them. Or they could have just let us reorder it, but you know, that would have been the most obvious of obvious things that we should be allowed to do. Or actually, I would actually be fine if it just auto sorted itself like the invention ideas do. That would have been fine. I would have been a-okay with that. Like, that would have been completely fine. Okay, constructor, then host, and then rock. Sadly, we can't invent the clown foot yet. Tears of the Kingdom does? I haven't played it yet. I just invented the, yeah, tier 2 cannonball arm. Cool. Making sure I didn't forget something. Car, carts, and then wheel. To invent something largely useless, because Caterpillar's bad. That is obnoxious. And there's no way to change that default behavior in game. Like, that feels like something that should have been caught in playtesting, you know what I mean? Like, someone in playtesting should have been like, hey, this is obnoxious. Please change it. You know, that's how that kind of annoying menu stuff is usually gotten rid of. Okay, there's Clown Body. Oh yeah. Oh, you have no idea. I'm already a clown. Okay, so we can't do Clown Foot yet because we don't have scale. So next invention is Clown Hand, which is Clown Robo's attack and then Parasol and Pipe, which I went past. Oops. Pipe and then Parasol. There we go. And then we can also invent Clown Shoes for the clown inside. Yeah, just remake it, but better. So, fun fact, I once in Unity got as far as remaking the dungeon generation issues or remaking the dungeon, effectively making a dungeon creation that would make the dungeons in this game. And I was going to work on, you know, populating with enemies next, and then I moved on to my next hyperfixation and forgot
Say cheese.
about that project entirely. Although I think I needed to work more on the algorithm that I was using to generate the dungeons. It wasn't amazing. It was very much, I looked up how to make that kind of algorithm and implemented it, and it was pretty meh, you know? It was not anything special.
Yeah.
Okay, now invent a gift capsule, which is bone, letter, and pot. I actually really like the dungeons in this game. I think they're, like, this might be the nostalgia talking, but I like the mystery dungeon games too. So, like, I like the vibe. Yeah. Although I prefer it when games have an actual explanation for them. But I definitely, like, I like that. And I like it when games have an actual explanation for it. So there's gift capsule. Next is grenade launcher. Wahoo. Chimney. Egg. And then fountain, 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 fountain.
Say cheese.
We have now invented a grenade launcher. Next is iron leg. There are so many inventions, and so few of them are useful. And yet there's still somehow not enough inventions, despite how many there are. Interesting. That's an interesting idea. It greatly increases development time, I'm sure. But I do like it when games have dungeons that are actually, like, entirely different types from each other, which is pretty rare. You don't often see that. You know, dungeons will be different from each other thematically, but usually the base way that dungeons function and are designed is the same throughout a game. And it would be nice if some games actually didn't do that and had the dungeons be like entirely different types that function entirely differently. There is a strong tendency for that to be the case. It's one of the reasons why I really like Zelda game dungeons in general, because at least puzzle dungeons, which is the fundamental type that Zelda dungeons are, feel better than I walked through, I picked up loot, I fought enemies, and there's a boss. Kingdom Hearts is great. It's a good game to take inspiration from in a lot of ways. Just not Kingdom Hearts 3. For a whole lot of reasons.
Yeah.
So an interesting thing that this is just commentary on Square games, because this is something that's very true of both Final Fantasy VII Remake and Kingdom Hearts 3, and they were in the pipeline at the same time, right? So I'm sure that there's a reason that I have the same problem with both of them. I'm curious what wasn't in Kingdom Hearts 2 that you love so much in Kingdom Hearts 1, because I love Kingdom Hearts 2. but
Yeah, it worked.
Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake both have the issue that they don't feel good on higher difficulties. And I haven't played either of them recently enough to remember my full thoughts on it. But the way that the game feels, the harder difficulties don't work. And it's very much a noticeable difference between like Kingdom Hearts 2, which felt really good combat-wise, and even like Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance felt really good combat-wise. And then Kingdom Hearts 3 is just, it doesn't matter. You have so much invincibility in Kingdom Hearts 3 that if you're at all using your tools well, you're just invincible most of the time. And because you're invincible so much of the time, there's nothing they can give enemies that makes it actually harder. I would not necessarily agree with that. I think it depends on the kind of game you want to play. I think if you like Kingdom Hearts 1, then you're probably going to like Recoded the best combat-wise. But I personally like, my favorite combat-wise is Kingdom Hearts 2. Because it strikes a really good balance between making me feel really cool and still being difficult. You know? I kind of get what you mean about it not being as purposeful. Kingdom Hearts 2 definitely is where the series made that shift into reactionary. So like, that's understandable to not like that as much. But I like reactionary button mashers, so I liked it, you know? I think if you like Kingdom Hearts 1, you probably would like Recoded. I mean, Kingdom Hearts' other issue is that they replayed Kingdom Hearts 1, like, so many times I'm not confident in saying how many. I think it's 3. I think it's 3. But I'm not confident there's not a 4th. Though there is a... Because it's Kingdom Hearts 1, Chain of Memories, and then Recoded. That's it, right? They didn't do Kingdom Hearts 1 again after that, right? I don't think. I think that's all of them. Which is utterly ridiculous. That there's even that many. But I think that, like, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 are both really good games, but they definitely function very differently in terms of how the combat feels. And I don't know. I personally like Kingdom Hearts 2 better. Although I did, scrolling back up to your point, I did miss the tech points. I did not miss the puzzle platforming though, because it felt bad in Kingdom Hearts 1. I think I might have liked the puzzle platforming if they actually made it feel better. But it didn't feel great in Kingdom Hearts 1. I did really miss that that there weren't as many like original stories for the Disney worlds. Like there was a little bit still, but it definitely, yeah, 2 is where they started getting rid of those. And if I had to guess, my guess is that Disney, considering what we've heard about Disney nixing stuff in Kingdom Hearts 3, they were probably doing that before that too. where they were like, you know,
Say cheese.
I mean, yeah, I will say that Tarzan's world is pretty close to the Tarzan movie. It just has, at least conceptually, it's not hugely different, you know? I think the only thing that I would say is like fundamentally different is the drama between the characters. And I think that's something that like, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. That's something I think just the Kingdom Hearts games after Kingdom Hearts 1 were missing, is having actual meaningful interactions between the main cast, because they're largely not there. Kingdom Hearts 2 still has a few, but Kingdom Hearts 3 just really felt like it didn't have any. And to be fair, it's really hard to still have them, right? Like, they're on their third adventure together. That's fair. That specifically, I would agree. I wish they had kept more of that. I think I didn't like how much Kingdom Hearts 1 did it, but having it be an option, having it continue to be an option would have been nice. Although I think the main reason it's not in Kingdom Hearts 2 very much is because Kingdom Hearts 2 largely got rid of a lot of the running around and looking for things part, aside from treasure chests. You know, they focused on treasure chests and kind of got rid of the other ways that you do that. Also, I really think it's funny in this game that you can invent the lure rod, but not any lures. What's the point here? I can invent the lure rod in chapter 2. I can't use it until chapter 4. They weren't quite just hallways, but they definitely had a lot more of you just get teleported around instead of, and Kingdom Hearts 1 did that a bit too, but it was it definitely felt a lot more like areas were interconnected in Kingdom Hearts 1 and then Kingdom Hearts 2. It was especially bad in certain worlds, like Beast Castle, despite being actually mostly hallways, feels much more like a real place than Mulan. You know, Mulan does not feel like a real place. It is a series of hallways and other small areas that you teleport between through fast travel points. Like it was very noticeable that some worlds felt better than others in Kingdom Hearts 2. Yeah, that's definitely one of those times when I really want to know how much influence Disney had over that. I don't think I have enough money to be a clown. I'll be real. That's expensive. I wanted to be a clown. I was gonna make the clown body and then the clown hand. But I don't think I have enough money to be a clown. I think I'm too poor. I think clowns are too rich for my blood. I'll see what I can do though. I mean, yeah, Frozen is definitely the most egregious. Like the Frozen one was so bad that the devs were actively complaining about it. Like that, like it takes a lot to make them badmouth Disney. You know what I mean? Like that's not gonna be a thing that they're gonna do just because. Like, okay, let's see if I can manage. I need 48 scraps of metal to start. But you know what? I don't need crystals. Crystals are for the weak. I'll get more. Oops, did not mean to exit out. I mean, yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 is just a very... So, I really didn't like the base story of Kingdom Hearts 3, and then I read the Dream World theory, and I really liked that theory, and then they deconfirmed it with Remind. So, and I'm still a little salty about that. And by a little, I mean a lot. I'm still a lot salty about that. Okay, let's go buy some green paint. Hey, Parn, give me some paint. Okay, we need 15. Okay. I mean, yeah, because there's really no reason for Sora to do all of that. Like, Sora doesn't get anything out of going to the Disney worlds, and the Dream Theory really well answered why that is. Because, like, the Dream Theory is essentially that we're seeing the second retelling of the events, like, and because we're seeing the second retelling, that's why it's a little off. That's why there's not really any explanation. That's why the end result is just Sora already having the power within him, because we're seeing the version after. Like when Sora does already have the power within him and we didn't get to see the first version. That's a very brief summary of the Dream Theory. It's effectively the established way that time travel works in Kingdom Hearts, according to Kingdom Hearts Key and Key Unchained, is you use time travel through dream worlds to then dodge the actual reality and overlay reality with the dream. And that explains why Sora just kind of goes from place to place. It explains a lot of the weirder lines. If we're in dreaming worlds, a lot of things make sense, including the super weird moment at the beginning of the game in 2. When they're joking about it being Kingdom Hearts 2.9 or whatever. That super weird moment where both Riku and Sora go unconscious, and afterwards Riku has a haircut and the dream mark on his back again. Like, and Sora can just use dream powers throughout the whole thing. Like, it works so well as an explanation, and then Remind just completely deconfirmed it. And that sucks, you know? Like, because there's no way that the dream explanation is true now, and that was the best way to piece together Kingdom Hearts 3's story. Now it's the mess they made. And there was a lot of hints, like, you know, there was a lot of, like, talk from, the main dev, whose name is escaping me right now for some reason, of stuff like, oh yeah, if you look deeper into the story, you might find something. And so people did, and they found nothing, because it got deconfirmed. by the Remind DLC. I thought the Remind DLC was gonna come out and actually confirm some kind of theory. I mean, it's quite possible. It's just unfortunate because that's just... It would have been better. Like, no doubt. That would have been the better explanation. I should have gotten the roller foot. Oh well. I can live with the ride pod being slow for a while, I guess. Let's... Not character. Make. Did I make clown hands yet? I did not. There we go. Okay, now we have clown body and clown hands as our melee options. That'll do us until we can actually... Next, we'll upgrade to a samurai and unleash our inner weeb. But for right now, we're stuck with this. Should really actually give the ride pod some defense, but it's okay. We just won't get hit. That'll surely work. That plan has never backfired on me. Not once. Anyway. In we go. We just gotta beat them all up with the ride pod. And if you're curious why, if you don't remember why you want a melee weapon here, it's because of the mask guys. They're super annoying to kill with a ranged weapon on the ride pod, because it's not fast enough to get behind them very easily. Okay, I think charging ram is one, right? Yeah, charging ram is in fact a picture. Am I? Come on, you can do it. Anyway, got the picture. Smackety smack. We will absorb the XP. We are the clown. Okay. Don't mind me. Just going to throw this rock. Got nothing. Bummer. Okay. Okay, Mass Tribesman. I need you to... Ow. Okay, Mass Tribesman, I need you to do that again. Not that. That's not what I meant. I didn't hit square fast enough. Bummer. No. Sora's never realized anything in his life. The last time Sora realized anything was in Kingdom Hearts 2. Okay, how'd that count? Okay, ow, my face. This is one of the more annoying pictures to get. Or at least if there's an easy way to get it, I don't know it. I don't think so. There we go. Got it. Wahoo! We did it. I'll be honest, my memory of the details of Kingdom Hearts 3 are a little shaky because I blocked that out after the Dream Theory was... Like, after I played the Remind DLC, I just kind of blocked the game out. Because that was the point for me at which I went, I don't care anymore. Nice. Got a coin. We appreciate good luck. I don't know who I'm gonna give that coin to, but I appreciate that I got it. Hey there, Smiling Fairy. Time to get smacked. So I actually like Aqua. Like overall, I like Aqua because she's the only competent person in that entire game. I have strong feelings about Terra being just utterly useless. Aqua is bearing the burden of having to stop Xehanort on her own because nobody else can do anything helpful. The only other person who even does anything helpful is Ventus. Like, the only thing I didn't like is I wasn't super fond of Aqua's, I'm not sure if it was the voice actress or the director, but I didn't really like the voice acting. Oh, yeah, that's fair. That scene definitely felt unnecessary. Also, fun fact, that is another great explanation, or great great evidence for the dream theory. There's two things that happen in the Aqua stuff that are both great things for the dream theory. So at one point Mickey's like, man, Aqua is too deep, we can't get to her. And then after the dream sequence, they just can't. Like after the point at which Sora falls asleep earlier, they just can get to her. They don't explain why to any satisfactory degree. And then Sora appears from nowhere when Riku is in trouble, which feels really weird until you remember that Sora can do that and teleport to his Dream Eaters, which we said in Dream Drop Distance that Riku is. But only when Sora's dreaming. So Sora suddenly appearing there doesn't make sense unless they're dreaming. Because that's the only time Sora has that power. But you know, it's fine. They don't need to have that theory exist. Kingdom Hearts 3 is a mess in a lot of ways. Like, I will give Kingdom Hearts before Kingdom Hearts 3 a lot of crap over being overly complicated. Like, it is overly complicated. There was no reason to make their time travel rules the way that they were, but one thing you can't say that it was is inconsistent. Everything about how you change fate and all of that, the rules were consistent in and of themselves and they made sense. And then Kingdom Hearts 3 was just like, but what if they didn't? Wouldn't that be funny? And it's like, but why? Why Kingdom Hearts 3 breaks the established rules of the franchise constantly. Like, and that's just so frustrating. Losing those abs over there to this jerk being too fat and taking up the whole path here. That's depressing. Smackety, smackety. Clickety, clackety. I think the clown head's really funny, by the way. I haven't brought attention to it yet, so I'm just gonna bring attention to it now. Look at this, all you can see is Max's head. That's hilarious. I feel like a lot of people who liked Kingdom Hearts have a whole ass revamped version of Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, I feel like that is an unfortunately common desire to just be like, could we have rewritten that whole game though? And like, I think that speaks to something about how well the game worked, you know? When most of the fan base has their own, like, what if this game didn't operate like that? Like, for me, that was definitely Dream Theory, right? That's my revamped version, that Dream Theory is true. Because Dream Theory addresses my my least favorite part of the game, which is that when they lose to the darkness, when the light loses, they all lose like chumps to Terranort. One of the 13 darknesses takes all 7 lights out with ease. You know what I mean? Like Terranort just walks in there and wipes them all out with a bunch of regular Heartless. And that doesn't make sense at all from a world perspective, but makes a lot of sense under the Dream Theory because it's the end of the nightmare part. You know, they're about to wake up in order to change fate, so it makes sense that all the dream shows is the end result of them losing. Like, you can explain away the fact that they all just lose like chumps to Terranort with that, because it really is just egregious that Terranort just easily solos them. Yeah. Although I do think that Remind's explanation for how everyone wins their fights is just so funny. Because Remind's explanation to everyone winning their fights is, well, yeah, Sora fought all of them. Why was everyone else here? We just needed 7 Soras, apparently. Any 7 people would have done, because Sora was going to possess them and win the fight for them. Remind is hilarious. Like, I get, like, from a gameplay perspective, why they did that. Because it lets the player get to have all of those boss fights, right? Instead of it being a bunch of non-player characters who get those boss fights. But man, that's hilarious. They're just like, nah, Sora be working overtime though.
Seem to be suffering.
Like, why? I mean, Max has some touching memories about being sick. You know what? I shouldn't have skipped that one because that scene's actually funny. Because that's the scene where Max is convinced he's going to die from a cold. Oh, what was the special thing for this floor? It's items, isn't it? No, monster transformation, even worse. Easy. Make the ride pod stronger because I need it to have better defenses. Because I'm going to do shenanigans at the end of this chapter. And I don't feel like doing it with Max and Monica, because no matter what you do, they get one shot. And I don't feel like putting that burden on myself today. Don't gotta, not gonna, you know? Hey there, Mass Tribesman. Come over here and get beat. Smackety smackety, clickety clackety. I do think it's really funny that the ride pod is the only thing that you can actually increase. Like, if you really wanted to grind, in chapter 1, you can max out the ride pod. in terms of defensive stats, and that's always going to be really funny to me. That you just can. It's an option. Nothing's stopping you. Like, you can't increase its offense, but you can make everything in the game tink off of its armor. Like, the only way it would get better is by improving the body, which is honestly not that much defense compared to how much you can put on the core. Monica does have middle child energy. That's true. Max is definitely an only child, though. You can really tell. I smacked him. I hit him with my fists. I mean, Spheda being Monica's thing would have made more sense. Like, that would have made so much more logical sense than it being Max's. Come on. Charge at me. Yeah, how's that going for you, idiot? Get smacked. But yeah, Spheda being Monica's thing definitely makes more sense than it being Max's. I honestly don't know why they switched it to being a Max thing if it was going to be Monica's. But who knows? I'm not wearing the clown shoes. I have standards. Also, I've been told by my partner that the dragon shoes don't look good, and I disagree. In other news, I'll be wearing the dragon shoes. I should probably let some abs go to Monica's sword. We're probably gonna regret it on the chapter that I have to play her. I mean, for how expansive, and that's true. The closest matching outfit he has is the green overalls, and they don't match. It's just the closest he has, you know? It's the best out of a bunch of bad options. The only other clothes that match it at all are the other clothes I have. The denim overalls, because the blue jeans are at least the right overall color, but they're the wrong shade and the brown doesn't go. But the dragon shoes themselves look so cool that I'm willing to overlook that. I'll wear them. I don't care if Max's other clothes match. He's gonna rock some dragon shoes. The rest of his outfit might be kind of bad, but his shoes will be fire. You definitely have to wonder if they were planning to make more outfits, because I feel like they put a lot of effort into the outfit system to only give each character what? Max has 5? Is it 5 or 4? It's 5, right? And then Monica has 3? And they're definitely only, one of those sets is definitely only clothes in the barest definition of the word. Also, I always found it super weird that they were like, let's give Monica a bikini, because like Older Age is never explicitly mentioned. It's not really about that. This is just a weird art style for that, you know? Like, this isn't an art style in which I think, oh yeah, let's see some characters in bikinis. Like, it's just not a good art style for that. They picked the wrong art style if they wanted to make those kinds of outfits. Like, there are art styles they could have gone with where that would have been a better choice. This is not one of them. You know what I mean? Like, me out here saying I'll probably regret it if I don't give Monica abs. Is she 15? I always assumed that they were somewhere in the like 16 range. Like, so that's pretty close to what I always assumed they were. Because like, Monica's age is harder to tell from the way that she talks because, you know, she's got the whole I'm a princess and my country was destroyed thing going, and, you know, anyone in the young adult section is going to talk about the same, whether they're like teenage or in their like later teens. Like anyone in that interesting. I mean, technically both of them probably have a birthday depending on how long you play. But yeah, Max definitely reads as younger than Monica, but I think that's mostly because she got her country destroyed, you know? That makes a person more mature by circumstance in the unfortunate way. You know, no one talks like a young person after their country is destroyed. Oh, whoops. Oopsie. Really? I've always thought of Max as younger than Monica. I mean, I disagree with that view of him, simply because while he does live in a mansion, everything we see about him in the opening sequence is him learning to do things himself and not rely on other people. Like everything we see of him in the beginning sequence and just in general a lot is him not caring for his status as a wealthy individual, you know? I do somewhat get how you can get that impression though based on what his dad thinks of him, but I'm not sure his dad's a good source of truth, you know? Like his dad certainly would agree with you, but Max's dad is pretty lame, so you know, I'm not sure he's a good source of information. Like, the reason I think that Max probably do they? I'm not sure that's... I should have gotten Hooray Rockman while I was fighting those guys. Oops. Is there any... There's not really any indication that that Donnie at least does that. Cedric does to an extent, but he's also a mentor figure to a child. So like that's kind of expected. To a degree. But Donnie saves Max, but he doesn't really pick up after him ever. Ow. I love how many of the attacks that you want to get pictures of, might as well just read, take this picture and then get punched in the face. Thanks, Donnie. Like, the reason I think that, like, Max is definitely viewed as a responsible kid by everyone but his dad. And the reason I know that everybody trusts Max before the game starts is Max literally just goes around saying, hey, let's, I'm on a journey to save the world, and everyone's like, oh, how can I help? Like, nobody questions it, you know? The most anybody does is, how do I get him to do Hooray for Rockman? Will he just do it randomly? I don't remember. I don't know. Max Reeds is definitely not a boomer to me. He reads as a young millennial, to me, at least. Anyway, oh, Max's dad reads like that? Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Max's dad also reads like, why are you trying to be a mechanic? Like, he very much has, oh, you being a mechanic is just a phase energy. You know? That's why his test for you is to prove you have follow through when Max is already proving he has follow through. You know what I mean? How do I make him do Hooray for Rockman? I'm gonna look it up. Because I don't think waiting is going to get it at this rate. Hooray for Rockman, hooray for Rockman. Hooray for Rockman. Have to be close enough to get the attack. I forgot Hooray for Rockman was the lead up to an attack and not just that it raised its arms sometimes. There we go. Hooray for Rockman obtained. Let's see, I have Burning Dragonfire and the Rama Priest scratching its back left. I know. Do I have any other general things? I mean, like, Gerald's whole thing definitely, like, is that he thinks that Max should be a certain way, and Max isn't, you know? Okay, Spinning Ivanov. I knew I was forgetting one. Yeah, so I just need Burning Dragonfire, Spinning Ivanov, and Nice Massage. Those are the regular enemy ones left. For scoops. Got a map. Yeah, that's not gonna be close enough to phase through any walls. Bummer. Oh boy, it fully restored my weapon HP. If it also restored the ride pod when it did that, I would be super happy about that every time I got it. Also, I will agree with the idea that Max reads like someone who wouldn't do his own laundry, but that's for a different reason. Because Max reads like someone who wouldn't think that, like, cleanliness is important. You know what I mean? Like, he feels very much like the kind of guy who's like, we're on day 18 of this adventure and he has not bathed. You know what I mean? Like, he's off adventuring or inventing things or being an engineer, and he's like, well, what is food? What is showers? What is sleep? I don't think so. If they do, it doesn't do anything, because I definitely get those things when I'm at max. Like, I get the healing one when I'm at max HP all the time. So if they do, they don't make it, they don't change their minds on what they're going to give you based off this information. I probably really should let Monica have some of the abs. You know? Come here, smiling fairy. Oh. I don't know. I feel like no still, because, like, I do still get it when I need it. And it feels pretty, it feels pretty like it's just an even distribution between the possibilities. You know? It's just that most of the time, you're not going to keep your weapons or health low enough that it's all that useful. Like, abs bonus is significantly the best option by a lot. And so you're never really gonna be happy getting either of the other two. Because abs bonus is just clearly so much better. Like you just don't spend much of this game actually low on health. And if you use the ride pod a lot, then you're never really low on weapon HP either. You know? Kick. Hey there, Golem. Smackety smackety. Easy. So I'm not necessarily sure I'd give weapon synthesis its own menu. I think I would just do more on leveling up, because I want to replace the feeling of how cool the menu was, because I do think getting rid of the menu was overall a better idea. A big one is we don't need to be limited on our inventory amount anymore. We don't deal with the amount of data restrictions they did, so that the inventory can just hold one of every item in the game, and then you can hold, so therefore you can hold a full stack of every item in the game. That's how many slots you have, plus like 50 for fish or something. And maybe a couple extra slots for weapons. But like, whatever my solution was there, I'm going to figure out how many slots you would need to hold every item in the game, and then I would add some extra slots on just to be safe. Other than that, I think I'd probably remove trap chests or change how they work. I don't think they feel very good in this game. Mainly because the contents of chests in this game are worse, so they don't feel like I want to open them, which is a distinct difference from
Looks like we got
Dark Cloud 1. So I think I'd probably bring back big chests, because I liked them in Dark Cloud 1, and make them be the only trap chests, because that was better, and probably do whatever tweaks necessary to weapon base stats to make you actually want base weapons, to make them actually useful to you. In some capacity. What I'd probably do to that end is make it so that way weapons you find in chests also have other stats on them. You know? Like make them have more than just the base stats of the weapon. Make them have some stats in other things. Like some kind of randomized amount on every number within a range based on the tier of weapon that it is. So that way, that way you're actually excited about getting it, because that could then be if you get lucky with what you get, that could then be a much better option than getting anything from than just using wrenches to build up your weapon. Took my brain a moment to actually remember what I was trying to say. Whoops. I always forget that there are in fact some enemies who can take a hit from these hands and not get staggered by it. Oops, that's not the direction I meant to go. Whatever, I'll just... Oh, I forgot to have Cedric in my party. That's my emergency button. I should have that in here. No. I would explicitly remove the maximum that does exist. And the reason why is because I think doing this game without weapon synthesis is a fun challenge, and I don't want to get rid of it. I think it's interesting. I think what I would do is I would absolutely cap the increase in abs at some point that a weapon needs. And I might have a maximum or a point where the amount of synthesis points you get drops off. If I would make it so that way weapons were easier to level, like give them a cap somewhere around like plus 30, where the amount of abs you needed just stopped increasing. But then I would drop the amount of synthesis points you get per level to 1 rather than 3. Something like that. I mean, I would tweak around with the numbers, but I don't want to... I mean, if you're synthing them, the answer is you never want to go past plus 5. That's always the answer if you're synthing them onto another weapon. But that's because the amount of points something takes is based on its level. So if you decide to go past that, what you want is you want to put them to the next level, and then do that. I mean, then you're making every weapon tier super short. If it can only go up to plus 5 or plus 10. I mean, it depends how much you want to force players to actually interface with not using crystals. You know? Because if you're using crystals, plus 5 or plus 10s, unless you drastically increase the synthesis points you get, is not going to be nearly enough. One other thing I would do, because of the different way that synthesis in this game, I mean, I don't really like that. I kind of like the fact that, like, I don't... Oops. I actually think I might, I don't think I would remove this, but I'm not super a fan of breaking weapons down into other weapons. I don't think I'd go so far as to remove it, but I certainly wouldn't make it a requirement. In fact, I would explicitly do some things that would make it less required. Like for the weapons, something I think would be really nice is if each weapon got better stat gains than just 2 attack and 1 durability for the first 5 levels, and then 1 attack per level after that. That's pretty lame. I wouldn't change it too much. I'd just give it like 1 point to like every weapon would have a stat that it leans more towards, and it would get 1 point in that stat at every level, in addition to what they already get. You know, just enough so that way you feel that sense of growth a little bit more. Just from the leveling itself, rather than both the leveling and the... That's not the direction I meant to go. I keep going the wrong direction on changing characters. Also, if I were redoing this game, maybe? I don't know. I think overall the weapon system as it is feels pretty good, so I wouldn't change too much about it. I think I'd just make it so that way it's a little easier to level. Do something to make the abs curve less steep, because and the way this game is made, if you don't actually put weapons on things, like, you know, you just if you just use crystals, then I did want Monica this time actually. Like if you're just using crystals, then it's pretty rough. You have to level a lot if you're just using crystals, and by the time you get to a tier 6 or 7 weapon, it's just not viable anymore to use just crystals to make any significant progress on a weapon. I don't think I'd make the gap. Okay, I would make the gap between tiers wider in terms of number, but I wouldn't make their damage gaps wider, if that makes sense. But that's because I think especially on later tiers, but that's because I think the way the math works out on this, on damage, gets a little bonkers at I think it's the 5th tier of weapons, where suddenly like you're doing significantly more than what your attack stat is. I want to say it's 5th tier of weapons. I might be wrong about that though. So I'd probably make them numerically wider, but adjust the damage formula such that effectively it's about the same. And then I'd probably give more of an effect. I might also just change where the tier breaks are a little bit, because I feel like the first 3 tiers are all really close together, and then 4 and 5 feel pretty good, and then the later tiers are just drastically different. You know, there's a huge difference between how much damage an Island King is doing versus how much damage the tier before it does. You know? Like, it's huge. And like, you want the evolution to feel like an upgrade, but that's a little much. Okay. Oh, thank you, elephant. I have to actually pay attention, because it is quite possible for me to die. Yeah, the game doesn't tell you nearly enough. One thing the game does that it does not tell you it does, that I think, like, I guess you would probably naturally discover it, but like, the fact that there's no hint at all that if you get, I'm not sure I'd straight put the weapon synth guides in the game, but I think I would probably have, I'd give the characters who give you bonus weapon points also give you the benefit of seeing what the next tier is and all of its information. Does that make sense? Like, you'd see what the base stat requirements are for it, things like that. Like, they wouldn't, that would just be an extra effect that they have. Also, yeah, a synth history book would be super nice. Or some equivalent of that. But yeah, I would definitely have the people like Cedric, Mullane, Gerard, like they're all supposed to be experts with the kind of weapon that you're that you're dealing with, and they should give you that. Also, I'd make Lyn a recruitable character for more than chapter 3. You know? Not having one of the weapon people only be available during one section of the game relatively early just sucks so much. Like, I cannot properly describe how unfortunate that is, just as a reality. It sucks. Smackety smack it, ow. Smackety smackety, ow. Okay, well, that's not the attack I meant to do. So, that elephant killing went a little worse than it could have. Yeah, I'd probably replace Lyn with the Paint Lady too. I'd probably do something to change the map interface. I'd try to find a better solution, because I think the map works okay, and like for a PS2 game I think it does pretty well, but nowadays I think we can do better, you know? Like, I feel like we can find a better way now. I'd certainly give you more options with the map, like being able to like have a slider for how transparent you want it to be, things like that, because it does kind of get in the way. See, now, I won't do that for the explicit reason that that trend of putting UI information on the edges really bothers me personally. Like, I have a hard time seeing things when they're there. Like, UIs keep getting smaller and smaller because screens are bigger. Except I'm still sitting the same distance from my TV if I'm playing a game on a console. Like, I can't see that. I have the same issue with text in a lot of games too. Text in a lot of games is just too small. for me to play from across the room. I never have that issue when I'm playing computer games, because at the distance I am from a monitor, it doesn't bother me at all. But yeah, that's definitely true. It's definitely more of a problem when I'm streaming than it is when I'm just playing. But like, even when I'm just playing the game, I don't like having UI information be hard to see. You know, I get that it makes it harder to make the game be super pretty, but like, one thing I'd really like for games to start doing is give me the option. Let me choose whether my UI is in my face or not, you know? Let me decide that I am bad at seeing things and I need it right up and covering my whole screen for me to absorb it. I mean, I actually really prefer the way the map works in this to like being able to keep a map out all the time. I like this solution. I just want to change the transparency of it. You know, I want settings about transparency and color, so that way you can make it so that way it's still on the screen, but you can more easily look past it, you know? Because I actually don't like having to pull up my map separately, you know? And mini maps don't really cover for it the same there. I mean, no, I think it depends what you're going for, but I don't think it's bad level design if people have to look at a map. Because if you're talking about in like a town or something, I would agree. Your town should be designed clearly enough. But if you're talking about anywhere that's supposed to be like a labyrinth, like mystery dungeons, obviously, but also just dungeons in general are supposed to be complex and hard to navigate. That's part of what they're supposed to be. So I don't think it's bad level design for you to need a map. You know, like dungeons are supposed to be hard to explore. Like you're supposed to need a map for that. You know, because if you don't, then then you're removing a lot of the real world complexity of the way exploring these spaces is, if that makes sense. That's why I always think that like it's really good to have the map be like discovered as you move along. That always feels better because it makes more sense, because then it's just the game is doing for you what gamers used to do on paper themselves. And it makes sense that your character would be drawing a map as they go, because they're in a complex space. You know, they are in a complex space that is hard to navigate. I don't like the fact that these are right next to each other. That is annoying. I'm gonna have to kill them both with this. Haha, idiots can't get past a bridge. But yeah, I think making meaningful landmarks is definitely important, but this isn't necessarily to what you're talking about, but it is something that I've seen a lot in broader game design discussions, which is that everything should have meaningful landmarks, and I very much don't agree with that. Because part of what makes caves and things hard to explore is that they don't have those things, right? That's what makes a cave hard to explore, fundamentally. Is that they don't have easy landmarks and things like that. It's what makes them so hard to... Oh no, the elephant is smarter than the rock, it figured it out! Elephant, let's talk about this. And by talk about it, I mean time to get stabbed. Anyway, yeah, I just think it's just like a thing that's talked about a lot in design is that everything should be memorable, and I think there's something to be said about a space being hard to navigate being a boon for its design. But I think that that's only a good thing if it's intentional, you know what I mean? Like, if you accidentally do that, that's not a good thing. Monica doesn't care about endangered animals, and neither does Max. Monica and Max are why they're endangered. Elephants didn't used to be endangered, and then Monica came through, you know? Like, I'm gonna do this floor a second time with Max, and we're gonna make elephants even more endangered. We're about to wipe out every elephant in this whole canyon. There's not gonna be any elephants left. I will get through this golem eventually. I did it. Imagine if there wasn't anywhere to trap those guys on corners. It'd be really annoying. Okay. Do, 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 do. One thing I really appreciate about this game is how good the background music sounds. And I don't know how to express this well, but it works amazingly as background.
Looks like we got them all.
Like, it works amazingly as background music. I mean, all I'm saying is Max was raised by someone who likes hunting. You know? We can switch to Max now. Wahoo! Which means we don't have to use Monica again for a while. Hope her sword's good enough for her, because it's good enough for me. For a while, at least. Wonder how many chapters I can get away without making either of them a proper weapon. My hubris has come back to roost. What does the chopper go into? Like, what are these two weapon options that I have for it? Since it's almost +5 again, which means I should probably increase one of these. Okay. Scroll up to chopper. Chopper. What do you become? Dusak and Shura? Okay, so the Dusak. What kind of combo is the Dusak? I don't remember. It is the 4-hit combo. Don't like it then. I will only suffer the 4-hit combo from Island King and nothing else. Then Chopper is Chura. What is the Chura? Chura. The 6-hit combo, we like that. And we don't need to worry about what it eventually turns into. Neither of them has an ability, right? Yeah, neither of them has an ability. Cool. I don't need to care then. So we definitely want the Chura. Is that Smash and Beast? Okay. Smash and Beast it is. What is the Chura's or rather its base stats? It is... Wait, is it in the wrong order on the guide? I hate when the guide does this. That's annoying. It is in the wrong order on the guide, so the Chura is this one. And I don't think we're going to be able to successfully turn this into a Chura, I'll be honest with you. We need 50 Cyclone, 50 Beast, and 41 Scale. I don't think we're getting 41 Scale. I'll be real. But Spectrum has a Garnet. It gives, yeah, it gives Scale. So that's 10 Scale for one point. So that's probably the best. I don't particularly care about Garnets later, so that works. So for Cyclone, I need to just throw 5 of these, and actually, yeah, I can make it without having to upgrade the chopper too much. It'll be fine. Having upgraded to +5 at every juncture before this is definitely helping, because we needed those extra synthesis points. Two Hunter Crystals. Oh, the irony. I don't have enough Sea Dragon Crystals. I'm 1 short. I am 1 Sea Dragon Crystal short. I guess I'll use a fish. It's not efficient, but it'll do. All of these? No. Okay. Just Prickly? No. Okay. Well, petite fish it is, I guess. Rough. I've defeated yet more enemies. Wahoo. I'm glad that Unreal is not crashing your computer. That certainly is better than it crashing your computer for sure. Okay, my sword can handle the enemies in this floor. I think we're fine. We're great even. We can get this medal. Some more Hunter Crystals to replace the 2 that I used. That's nice. A Wind Crystal. That's nice. Hey, some more Sea Dragon Crystals. The game really said, wow, look at these crystals you just used. Would you like them replaced? Sure, game. If you want. Easy. Sadly, the Smiling Fairies don't get very many abs. Why is very much abs wrong? Linguistically, very much abs is wrong to my ears, and I don't know why. It's because it's very many abs, but it's very much experience. I guess it's because abs is plural. That must be what it is. I don't know. English is weird. Hello there, King Mimic. Please, let me stab you repeatedly. Ow. We're fine. No, thank you, no thank you. I mean, every language is a nonsense language. English is just, because it became such a widely spoken language, it definitely suffers from more of that. You know, it was already an amalgamation of a bunch of different things, and then a lot of people spoke it, and that did not help. You know, that did not make it make more sense. In fact, it distinctly made it make less. English is definitely one of the more nonsensical languages, though. I would agree. Oh, I know one change I would make to this game. I would make attacks on downed enemies actually worth doing. That's something I would change. Like that is a very definite change I would make. Also, that's funny. I don't know too much about the linguistic history of, I mean, Twilight Princess did have pretty good combat, but I think for this game, or for games like this, I don't know. Twilight Princess gave a little too much importance to each enemy, if that makes sense. So I kind of like a lot of the way this game's combat works, but I would definitely make downed attacks do more, so I might steal the one from Twilight Princess where you just absolutely you know, do a jumping stab onto them and they just get destroyed. I definitely do something though to make it actually worth doing, because every time I accidentally get a downed attack, I internally go, ugh, you know, and you don't want that. You want people to be excited about getting the special animation they can only do at certain times. You know, that's supposed to be a joyous occasion. Almost one more enemy. I would make the jumping forward attack actually go into a combo, because I like it overall, but it doesn't go into a combo. And that's its main problem as an attack. If it went into a combo, it'd be great. Yeah. Oh, combat-wise, that's another change I would make. Being able to aim thrown items in some way. Because the hardest part about the levels where you have to beat all enemies with items is getting the gosh darn throwing arc to work with you when the enemies are in the air. Like, bats are the most obnoxious thing to kill with items in the game, and they shouldn't be, you know? Because if I were Max or Monica, I could simply aim up. Yeah. I'd also probably, while I like just the backflip, I would probably also expand them out into being able to do dodges in any direction and just give it a button. I'd find some way to give that a button, you know? Hello, King Mimic. You have a moment to perish instead of fighting me? No? Okay. Worth a try. Thank you. That's not where I wanted to be. I still do not like the implications that a King Mimic licked me and I became thirsty. Because even before thirsty meant what it does now, that still didn't have good implications. You know? Like, how did it get the liquid out of me? How did I lose liquid in this interaction? There's no good answer to these questions. Easy. Medal obtained. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no...
Looks like we got 'em all.
That's the explanation that makes the most sense, and that's not a good explanation. That is a distinctly bad explanation. I don't want that to be true. In fact, I would very much like for it to not be true. Explicitly. I want it to be false. Please be false. Anyway, I'm feeling more sleep deprived today than I did yesterday, so I think I'm gonna call it there. I will once again do the check I did at end of stream yesterday, which is anyone else streaming Dark Cloud 2 for me to raid? I suspect the answer is probably no, like it was yesterday. Yeah, I am the only person streaming it. Bummer. What about Dark Cloud 1? Nobody's streaming that. And, nobody I follow or know of is currently streaming. So... I'm sure they did. During like the daytime hours in the US, there's usually people streaming Dark Cloud 2. It's a fairly popular game for at least one person to be streaming at any given time. But anyway, I have no one to raid, so I apparently don't know enough people at this time who are streaming at this time of day. But thanks for watching. Follow if you want. I'll be back soonish. I don't know it'll be tomorrow, but it'll be sometime. See you later.